Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Abiba here and I am back with more philosophy content. Ever since my first upload, I've been getting so much messages on how to revise A-level philosophy and ethics. I'm going to go in depth, starting from how to manage your content, how to remember philosophers and quotes, what textbook to use, other resources is here, and just everything you need to get that top grade that you want. So I'm just gonna jump straight into it, and as usual, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and let's get into it. So the first one that I get is, there is so much content to learn. How could I possibly get all this content into my head? And I was in this shoe as well. There is a lot of content to learn, and as I usually say, the specification is so important, especially in learning all the content. I would advise you to print out the spec. As I have said previously, honestly, it literally breaks every single thing down. They've literally outlined everything you should know, and if you haven't done anything, it's a great starting point, because as you go along, you can take things that you know and what you don't know. Honestly, the specification is really important. And secondly, in terms of textbooks, I didn't really find the OCR published textbook. I don't think it's quite helpful, and I'm gonna say this because I thought the comprehension was actually quite hard. Like, understanding it was quite hard, and I found it hard then, and I can imagine other people finding it hard as well. So I've spent a lot of money on like different resources trying to find what wasn't so hard to understand in terms of the language, and I actually came across a revision guide, which I'm going to show you. So this battered and bruised revision guide is my revision guide that I use, and as you can see, I didn't actually buy a copy of it. I actually photocopied it off of someone who had it. Please don't do this. I didn't advise you to do that. The my revision notes, it's so much better, I think, for someone who has just little knowledge and really wants to understand, because as much as you do want to get an A star on A, you need to understand that it's actually a progress. It's actually like a transition, because I didn't get A stars in year 12 or year 13. So honestly, you need to get those C's and B's first before you actually even get an A on A star. So I really found it so helpful. In this textbook, if you buy this textbook, it has the spec outlined in there, and it has like a tracker of like days to your exam, and every single topic, it has a question at the end, and I made sure I answered every single question. Not every single one, but most of it. But yeah, I answered most of the questions in this textbook, and I found that really helpful. This textbook, I would say, is a lifesaver, because it has all the criticisms there, and it's organized it in such a way it was so easy to understand. So in terms of managing your content, I would most definitely recommend that revision guides. And the next one is actually remembering content. And honestly, I know this might be like a hard pill to swallow, but you have chosen to do this as your A-level, and it is content heavy, but the key of it is literally practice. Honestly, if you practice, there is no way you're not gonna do well in it. It's not a memory game, but if you understand to begin with and you practice, you will definitely do well in philosophy and ethics. I have my folder, which I'm going to show you. Different people make like mind maps. I definitely did make mind maps, but I personally don't always find them very useful. Instead, what I did was, with my textbook, I read over the content. I had my notebook as well. The notebook is basically notes I had from class, basically. At the end of the day, I literally had my notebook, I had my textbook. I would understand what I've learned first, and I'll read over the textbook. I literally extract information that I will understand. I extract my AO2s. I don't memorize every single thing, because that is practically impossible. Anything that is key that you should know, learn it. But apart from that, you really can make your own evaluation. You can make them into such a way that you understand them, and when you understand something, it makes it so much easier. And I just have an essay bank, and I really like essay banks, because I can see this is what a C work is, what a D work is. And if you go on the OCR website, they have like previous examiners' responses, for example, and also past essays. So if you look at the past essays, for example, you can see people who got a C, people who got a D, people who got an A. And when you start to spot these differences, you can really identify where you stand there as well, and really see, okay, this is where I stand and this is where I need to go. And I found that also very helpful. If you have a photographic memory, mind maps will work for you. If you're someone who likes to listen to things, literally podcasts might help. You can record yourself saying these topics or like explaining topics to yourself and hearing it again as you're on the bus and things like that. That really helps as well. You just need to find the best way that you learn things and just start incorporating it as early as you can. So in terms of like how I manage, I'm just going to show you like an example from my folder. So this was the folder I used during A-level. This is one of like my revision packets. I call them like revision packets. So when I've learned every single content, for example, after my teachers taught me utilitarianism, Kantian ethics, business ethics, natural moral law, all of that, after I've learned every single one of them, I come to make my own understanding, what I understand all those topics to mean, and I kind of do it in such a way, linked together, and it's so much easier to understand. So for example, business ethics, I always use business ethics and Kantian ethics because it's really easy to understand and explain. So in this pocket I have business ethics, and obviously because it's applied ethics, it applies to utilitarianism, which is UT, and Kantian ethics. So what I do is, after I've made all my notes, I basically just write down all the AO1, and in the AO1 here, I basically just made a note of like utilitarianism. Basically everything utilitarianism contains, I make it into like this paper here, and after this I then do the AO2, which I think is right at the bottom there, and I repeat this for Kantian ethics as well. And when I'm done with that, I put them together. And the reason I do utilitarianism, Kantian ethics plus business ethics is because I know that they're applied. So by virtue of actually like revising Kantian ethics, utilitarianism, and business ethics, I'm basically learning everything all together comprehensively, because utilitarianism can come up as a question on its own, so can Kantian ethics, but business ethics will always come, and you always need to link it to utilitarianism and Kantian ethics. So by learning them together, it makes it a lot easier for me, because then I know points that stand for each individuals and also connected. And I think that is one main thing that you need to understand, is the fact that you're learning nothing in isolation of itself. And I literally do this for like the argument based on observation reasons, so for the cosmological, teleological, and ontological arguments, I literally revise them all together, because by revising them together, I'm literally finding weaknesses and also strength in each of them, which can also be used like vertically as well, because the ontological argument is an argument that can be used against the teleological argument and vice versa. So honestly, doing things together, it cuts the load, and it also makes it so much easier to understand. So when you're thinking about philosophers, you can easily extract philosopher from one topic into another. And that brings me on to my next point about how do I learn quotes. And honestly, some of the quotes you just have to memorize or just remember some like keywords in terms of remembering philosophers. If you do like the revision pack, the style that I do, I would just say like make a list of specific ones. As I said, it's not a name dropping contest. You honestly don't need up to like 5-6 philosophers. I don't know why you should need more than that, but if you do pick 3, 4, or 2 out, and you really use the argument in each of like your essays, it literally would work really well. So in terms of remembering philosophers, some of them you just have to like remember and know. Make a list of it, hang it somewhere in your room. If you wear makeup, for example, hang it on your mirror every morning whilst you're doing your makeup, or I don't know, moisturizing, whatever. If you're looking at it, you will remember it, and that is just making it always like in the plane of your view. That is something that helped me, making it visible to myself all the time, and that really helped. And just back onto the revision pack that I have. So after making like the revision packs for each topics, I then go on to start answering questions for all those topics as well. And as I said before, if you look at the specification at the bottom, there are some bullet points there, and I literally turn those bullet points into questions, and I try to answer those questions based off the knowledge I have previously, and then I give this to my teacher to mark, and I then grade it and basically organize my folder in terms of the grades of my essays. So I put the C's first, then the B's, and then an A if I do get one, and that way I can then tell like what I've done wrong in the C essays and what I've improved on in the B essays. For example, these are some of my essays for Kantian ethics, utilitarianism, and business ethics. So right here, I just have my essays, and as you can see in this one, I got a B-, and eventually at some point I managed to actually get an A, which is marked by my teacher. So it's really important to honestly plan essays. It got to a point I was quite tired. I started to make a lot of essay plans, and as I said before in my essay video, I literally put a line through a paper, yes, no, agree, disagree, right, wrong, and I write down the points there because it's a lot faster than actually writing essays. So that would be really helpful as well. Familiarize yourself with like examiner's report, for example. It might seem a bit extra, you know, looking at examiner's report. Examiner's report I found really helpful. For example, examiner's report are basically telling you what people in the year before, it's telling you what they didn't do right. And I was reading that like, I'm not about to make that mistake as well. Like literally the examiner's report will literally be like 50% of students didn't do this in this question, which means they didn't understand it. So in the next year, no one knows, they might even include that in the question because clearly students didn't understand that. So examiner's report I find really useful. It really helps you. It gives you that perspective basically away from being a student, because the examiners have amalgamated all these exam papers that everyone has done and they're like, yeah, you guys flopped on this section. And I found it quite interesting to read as well. So examiner's report is really, really great as well. So literally learning the topics, making as much essay plans as you can, and topics that you don't understand, you should actually focus on them. It sounds very mad, but honestly, focus on topics you don't understand, because if you're going for topics you already know, that's not helping anybody. Let's be truthful, that is not helping anybody. So honestly, go over topics that you find very hard. And for me, that was religious language. Oh my gosh, I thought religious language was so hard, but honestly, it was possibly the one I enjoyed the most because I really did take my time with it. So if you find any topic hard, go over it. There's a reason you're finding it hard, so basically just go over it. You have the essay pack, essay plans, align through the paper, and yes, no, best approach, not best approach. I'm just gonna go on to talk about other resources that are here. I think there's a lady on YouTube actually called I Think Therefore I Teach, and she has amazing content. Honestly, she goes in depth, and I just remember like getting like some of my tutees to actually listen to her as well, because the information that she's given is so in-depth, it's so useful. So honestly, do check out her channel. I'm going to link it below. I think I found another YouTuber, Ben Ward, who does A-level content as well, and it is really, really good content. So do check that out as well. So there's Ben Ward, I Think Therefore I Teach, there's Philosophy Cat, yeah, I think I found recently. I found about like 2 weeks ago, and Philosophy Cat is really good because it underlines like every single topic, teaches resources and all of that. So honestly, put yourself in a position where you're not lacking knowledge. You're really proactive in how you seek things. Don't just take things like, oh yeah, you know, I just want to get a B or I just want to get a C, and that's fine. The more you are proactive with it, the better you will get at it. The OCR website, really do use it. Go on it, like get familiar with things on there, get familiar with the specification, get familiar with the examiner's report if you want to, get familiar with the past essay responses and stuff like that. Philosophy and ethics just really gives you that knowledge in terms of like having really nuanced thinking. It really helps in like thinking in such a way that it's not yes or no. You really see, what does this person think, this approach, how does it help and stuff like that. So it's really good, especially going into the real world where you're working with real people with real emotions, you know. So I think it's very, very useful. Anywho, I think this is the end for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been useful. If you have any topic you want me to talk about, to break down for you, leave them down in the comment section below, and I will see you in my next video. And as usual, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And thank you for watching. I appreciate questions being asked, like people actually care enough. So I really appreciate all the questions, and I'll see you in my next video.